Okay, here we go. So a couple disclaimers. First is we already know each other, so I'm just gonna forget everything I know about you and just tell you what's in the chart. I'm gonna stay objective that way. And yeah, I usually do a pretty good job of doing that, I think. And then also the second thing is I'm doing this a little bit differently than the last reading I did. The last reading I did, I looked up the chart like several days beforehand, and then I kind of pondered it a while, and then I even did like four takes, so it was like very rehearsed. And for this one, I'm just winging it. I have the chart up, but I haven't actually looked at it yet. So yeah, I'm just gonna wing it and figure it out. We'll figure it out together. 'Cause I think that would be more fun. So I mean, I already know a couple things. I already know. I already. So well. So first of all, this chart is for Friday, August 18th, 1972, 3:38 a.m. in Granite City, Illinois. And okay, so you are a Leo, and so first of all, something that I already knew from your birth date, just by your birth information, is that you're a Leo. So you probably already know that. Um, but that's that's your sun sign. Your sun sign is in Leo, so that means you're born the time of year where the sun is in the constellation Leo, which happens to be the middle of summer. So you were born at a time like you joked that Leo is the best sign, but it kind of is in a way, just because it's the best sun sign, sort of, just because the sun is the most natural there. You're born during the middle part of summer, where there's lots of energy, lots of warmth and vitality. So that kind of translates into the Leo personality. So Leos are usually warm and outgoing. Sorry about my phone. Warm, outgoing, confident. The sun does really well there. Like the sun is super bright and obvious and very warm and energizing and friendly. So that's how Leo people are, like some middle of summer people. So but then the other thing though, you're born at night, so like, well, early in the morning. So, but you're born when the sun was below the horizon. So, and that usually suggests a yin kind of personality, which is more like reflective or introspective. So it's kind of your sun at least is a combination. It's very warm, outgoing, confident, more masculine, but it's at night, which is more reflective, like introverted time. So I was thinking, just judging by your birth information, it could kind of go either way depending on what else is in your chart. But looking at, you have Moon in Sagittarius and it's in the fifth house, so you are very fiery. Your Sun and Moon are both in fire signs, so you're very confident, outgoing. You would like being in charge, being a leader. You handle attention very well. Like if everyone's paying attention to you, you can have like a charm and a charisma and be very friendly and outgoing and energetic, that kind of thing. That sort of person. You like new situations or like traveling or something like that because you have Moon in Sagittarius. So your comfort zone would be like to get out of your comfort zone. You like new experiences, new people, and you might have a hard time understanding people who aren't just like um, as outgoing. Like because for you it's easy. It's like just be confident, friendly, warm, and yeah, Leo, you're just like blessed in that area. Um, and you might be a little bit stubborn just because, well, yeah, I'm not gonna I'll try not to explain too much about the actual astrology. I'm just gonna say what I see, but um, you might be a little bit stubborn, kind of like fixed a little bit. Your midheaven is also Aries, so yeah, at work you'd be seen as a fiery, independent, kind of outgoing, maybe a little bit like rebellious. You'd want to do your own thing. Like midheaven in Aries is kind of like you might want to own your own business or something like that. Like you would kind of want to be in charge at work in some way, or at least have the freedom to do your own thing. Um, yeah, you don't want to be told what to do necessarily at work. Um, your Cancer rising, which makes the moon. Okay, that's interesting. So, yeah, it all goes back to fire. Fire is definitely the dominant. You're a fiery person. Um, so I could talk more about fire. Warm, friendly, like I was saying, but also they can have a little bit of a temper. But usually, like their temper might flare up, but then they calm down really quickly too. Like you wouldn't be one to hold a grudge necessarily, maybe, unless somebody like really um, disrespects your pride. You'd be a very proud person, and you'd be proud of your family and close friends. So if anyone disrespects you or your pride or your anyone who's close to you, you might hold a grudge in that aspect. But what I'm saying is, if you get upset over something, you generally calm down very quickly too. And normally, you'd be an upbeat person. You'd be an energetic person. You'd have a lot of energy. You'd have a lot of like youthful energy. Um, because um, yeah, fire is the first element, so it leads things. It likes to be spontaneous and impulsive. You could be a little bit reckless. You could have a lot of party energy where you want to party and have a good time. And when you're having a good time, you don't want it to end. You don't want the party to end. So that could get you into trouble a little bit. Like fire signs can be reckless, and especially Leo because it's fixed fire. So it wants to hold on to that fun time. So it can kind of overdo it a little bit sometimes. That could be a hazard for that kind of personality. Okay, wow, interesting. So you and your south node, you have a lot of fire. I keep noticing more fire patterns. Your south node is by your ascendant. So that means you came into this world knowing like very much who you were. Like you're like, this is me. Get over it. Like yeah, fire personalities are kind of like that anyway, but especially with this other aspect, and that could almost be your downfall just a little bit. That might be one of your challenges in life. Okay, you might not like this, but like so this aspect is suggesting that, and you might have already figured this part out. You probably have to some extent, but it's best for your soul growth if you can learn to cooperate, learn to be diplomatic or compromise, even. Which I feel like that would be a painful word for your personality because you are just you, and you want to do what you want to do, and that's awesome. But this is suggesting that if you just stay solely focused on yourself, you're good at that, but it would be to your detriment to not expand more and not to plan for the future and maybe even be a little bit stoic at times. I'm not trying to kill your fire energy at all. Like that is all great. You should keep that up for sure and just be yourself and be fiery. That's super great. Fire is like the best, not the best element. There's no best element, but fire is like the most fun element. So it's good to have a lot of fire. It's really powerful. You can get a lot done. There's so much energy there. So I don't want to sound like I'm disencouraging that at all. Um, just saying this is saying that you could benefit from cooperating with others, and this is still in a place of like you could still be the leader or the boss, but in a more calculated way or a more practical, like earthy way, a more a way that's more focused on the long term, I guess, something like that, and focused on relationships and other people and being diplomatic and sometimes having to compromise stuff like that. Let me just look at everything else here. And also, so I'm seeing another pattern. So that's also your subgeneration. Anyone born right around the year or two around you. Um, One of your challenges that you'd have to deal with is with people, with other people. This is a little bit like what I was just saying, but with communicating and with interpersonal relationships, like it seems like you're fine when you're on your own. Like you know yourself very well, and what you're all about and everything, and you're good at just being yourself, which is really powerful. But you have a challenge with. I don't like how that sounds. I don't want to say it like that. I'm not saying that you like cause problems with people or anything, but you might have a hard time being like objective and like removing your ego from the situation, like mentally speaking, and looking at things objectively or seeing things from other people's point of views, that kind of thing. Something like that, because your evolutionary places are in the air element, which opposes fire. It's more about fire is all about you and your passion and your soul and what you're all about and like your energy. Air is kind of like the opposite of that. It is just kind of like empty and it's just about observing, and that's why it's more focused on other people. So that's where these challenges lie for you, is learning to be objective or learning to be like cool and just removed. And you know, you can still be fiery, but also having those abilities to just be objective in order to work with other people. You know, ultimately, in order to just get what you want and in order to accomplish your own goals. So it goes back to, you know, yourself and your fire and everything. But yeah, but also learning to be objective. And you probably you're born 1972, so you've already had your Saturn return. So like you would, so what I was just talking about, you would learn all that, especially in your late 20s, around when you're. Most people have kind of a hard time in their, like when they're 28, 29, 30, where they have to deal with this kind of thing. So you've probably already made a lot of progress with all that stuff that I was talking about. Your part of fortune is, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of fire. Yeah, you want to be the boss, but be in charge. You're charismatic. You probably are really good with people in the sense that I don't want to make it sound like you're not good at cooperating with people, because you probably are good in the sense that you're very charismatic. You're good at meeting people. You'd be a good salesman. You know what people want and how to how to energize them, how to provide your energy to the situation. Um, yeah, like I see that a lot. You have a lot of fire, which is good. Um, yeah, so going reiterating this again, it just might be hard for you to be objective because you're a very passionate person. Um, so it's hard for you to be all cool and detached. Yeah, so learning that a little bit might be helpful. But yeah, it's good. Fire is a fun. You like to have an adventure. You like to have a good time. You like to start things. You'd be one to just, yeah, to initiate something like, let's go do something. Let's have fun. You'd be generally more extroverted, I would say. Fire is extroverted. Um, yeah. What else? What else? Let me look at aspects and stuff. Your chart is kind of scattered, so that's good. It's more balanced. 0 degrees. Okay, yeah, I was kind of speculating. So, um, you have Mars in Virgo, so you might like you probably have a clean house. It would annoy you. Clutter would annoy you. Little things might upset you a little bit because Mars in Virgo is a little bit finicky. But you have a good work ethic for sure. You would be a hard worker. You don't mind hard work. You'd have a lot of energy too. You'd have a lot of like dopamine. You'd have like So like when it comes to working or like sex drive, you'd probably have a super high sex drive because of all the fire. And then Mars in Virgo is very sensual and it has a high sex drive too. And it likes to get kind of like crazy. Like Virgo is the virgin, but secretly it gets kind of freaky sexually. It just doesn't go around like telling everybody about it, but yeah, Mars in Virgo could be very sexual. Um, But you're also stable. Fire is usually not a very stable element. It's all about initiating things. It's not necessarily about following things through. But you do have a lot of fixed energy, so you might be more kind of stubborn and like you probably know exactly what you want out of life and your desires and your opinions. you know yourself very well. Like, I don't think you would be a person who is very, what's the word? Like, conflicted. Like, you don't know where you stand on an issue. Like, you know yourself. You've got that down for sure. So that's good. I mean, that's a huge gift. And you might be confused, like, why do other people not have that? Because to you, it would just be obvious. And in a way, you're kind of right, but I'm projecting, I guess, just on your chart. But yeah, that's really great. That's really powerful. Yeah. Um, and Mercury first house. So yeah, you'd be very direct with people. You'd be warm and caring, I think, for sure. But also, you would not tolerate, um, BS from people or someone who is offending you or telling you what to do when they shouldn't or something. You'd be very direct, like people know where they stand with you. You're a very honest person for sure, very direct. Let me look at. I would speculate that your parents probably got along too. I don't know. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to say stuff that's not true, but just judging off like the sun and the moon are at a good aspect to each other. So growing up, you probably knew what was expected of you. Like there wasn't a whole lot of tension. Like your parents might have been a little bit similar to each other, at least. That's Jupiter's conjunct the galactic center, so I don't know what that means. That means you do have a certain like luck to you. Like you might actually be very intuitive. Like you just get information from not information, not even not like it might not even be like logical information, but you just might get like knowings just like from the universe or something, or just from yourself. You might just like know things, that sort of intuition. You have an intuition where you could just walk into new situations and just kind of know things and just figure out things out very quickly. And you just might know things about like the world without having to actually study them. You might just receive like knowings from your intuition. Um, you're probably good with money for sure. Like, I mean, well, fire has a lot of it, but fire in general, since you're such a fiery person, that kind of personality has a lot of potential to make money really quickly, but then they also spend money quickly. But you have a couple of things in your chart that you would actually be good at with your money. I don't think you would waste your money. Um, because you're stable. You're hard. You could be a hard worker. Um, it's important for you to feel like supported and to support yourself, and you generally be good at that. At paying your rent and making sure you have everything you need, all that. Um, you'd be good with money, good at making money, and good at keeping your money and using it wisely. What else? What else? Oh, it's Chiron. Yeah, let me just. You have one, two, six planets in fire, but then also your midheaven and Chiron. Also, you're a Cancer rising, so yeah. So again, you have all this Yang like dominant masculine energy, but at the same time, most of the planets and the sun and the moon were all below the horizon when you were born. Um, so you can actually be very um, open to weird things, or you can be kind of like reflective, and you can do the yin and the yang energy. Like you can also, like generally, you're very fiery, outgoing, but you can also be receptive, or and understand people, be or not compassionate, but like um, that's not the word I meant. Be more introspective, or I don't know, more night energy would be more sensitive and open to like weird abstract ideas and stuff, more pondering type of thing. And then also your Cancer rising, so Your home and your family are very important to you. Um, the Cancer risings I know, you're very like Cancer. So something that happens with Cancer rising a lot of times, like someone will just, like a stranger will just walk up to you and be like, "Oh, do I know you from somewhere?" And they'll swear that they know you, and you're like, "No, we've never met for sure." And the reason for that is because you're just a very like approachable character. Cancer rising people just feel comfortable with you. You're not threatening. It's easy for people to meet you and feel like they already know you, even though they don't, and get acquainted with you quickly. You would seem very approachable, very friendly, and that kind of goes with all this fire anyway. And you would be really open minded because of the moon in Sagittarius. So yeah, you'd be open to adventures and weird ideas, weird theories. Like if you hear something that sounds like BS, you would definitely apply judgment, but you'd also listen to it and hear it out and be like, like I'll hear what you have to say though, and then go from there. But yeah, you'd be. I almost wonder if you have like phases to your personality where you might be really outgoing for a while and then be kind of like reflective, because you can be reflective too. You're not just fiery. That is like the gist of your personality is all the fire, which is just more outgoing. But you can be reflective too, and I speculate that there might be like phases to that, um, because the moon is actually your chart ruler. Even though the sun rules a lot of your chart, um, the moon is technically your chart ruler because it rules your rising. You're kind of both. You can be yin and yang. You can be outgoing, but also you could be a good listener too, or um, you do have, yeah, kind of both. Um, I almost wonder if you were like you might have some kind of talent or skill, like you could be a performer of some kind, like Leo, because you just all this. Well, I guess just all the fire. Most actors are fire signs because they are outgoing and they have the cameras on them. They can be outgoing and funny and relatable and stuff like that. But a lot of like performers and musicians and stuff can be fire signs too. So and then you might just have a lot of creative energy in general. You might be really good with kids, um, because of all the sun and moon energy. Yeah. What else? Venus is in the 12th house. Mars. So you might actually attract a partner who's more introverted, I think, even though you're more outgoing. Um, yeah, I think you'd be more attracted to someone who is more, more just chill and like laid back, easygoing, modest. Um, and in a long-term relationship, you'd need someone who's kind of structured, someone who is maybe even almost the boss, but I don't think you'd like someone who tells you what to do though. But just someone who's like structured and has their act together. Someone who's very mature. Someone who's mature, wise almost, or just like very self-sufficient and you know takes care of their business. Um, yeah, and then you'd be attracted to personalities that are modest. It kind of introverted actually. I think you might like introverts. Um, let's see, how long is this? Is that? Oh, that's not the right thing. Sorry. This was 24 minutes already? Okay. I didn't think I'd been talking that long. I'm not even convinced now. Anyway, okay, what else? Let me make sure. Your part of fortune is conjunct your midheaven. So you need to do something on your own, I feel like. Either, I don't know, you could be the leader, whether you own a business or you could lead some kind of project, or you have so much creative energy and you're so like it's really powerful, and you could be very persuasive and charismatic. So I mean, you could go a lot of different directions with all this energy, but something where you're in charge and where you're like not just in charge, but you're like the face of the company or the project or something, where you can have your own creation, where you're also working with other people. I don't know, something like that might be rewarding for you, or it could just be, traveling to new places or something, just having new experiences, meeting new people. All that would be real rewarding for you. But almost, yeah, it's weird that you have these two things almost. It's part of your soul growth to be more objective. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that would play out exactly. Um, what else? I covered most of what's here, I think. Sexually, yeah, going back to, you have this like deep, like dark, sexual thing, like probably have a very, very high sex drive. But this is, you might attract a partner who's definitely introverted. All the stuff that has to do with like relationships and what you're attracted to is introverted, even though your chart is very extroverted otherwise. So, um, and then some in general, like all the fire signs are usually very overt with their sexuality. Like they like being sexual and they don't hide it. They don't hide anything about themselves really. They're very direct. But at the same time, you have Mars in Virgo and then Lilith in Scorpio. So there's also more sexuality that is more personal to you that you don't tell everybody about. So you're probably kind of both when it comes to sexuality. I'm just talking about this because just sexually, it's just looks interesting. Um, I mean, Lilith and Scorpio is really intense. You probably have there's something intense sexually there for sure. I don't know exactly how to read that past that, but um, yeah. Let me just make sure I don't want to forget anything. Plus, yeah, Venus. So that's becoming a pattern now too. Venus in 12th house. So you might have like, I don't want to say a love affair, but like attract a partner who there's something secret about them, like or absent something. No, something's hidden about them. I don't want to make you paranoid. I'm just saying a partner who is there's something you might attract partners in your life where you might go years in your life with someone and then find out later all this stuff about them that you never knew while you were with them or something like that or or there's just this like kind of hidden intense emotional side to your these partners, something or to a partner that you the kind of partner you attract. um hmm Weird. Also, financially, you might have like a hidden. I don't want to say a hidden account. You might. I think you'd be smart with your money, and you might invest it in. You might put it somewhere that no one knows about it, or something, or have a way of making money that no one knows about. I don't know how to read that exactly, but Venus rules like love and money, and it's in the 12th house, which is like hidden. And it's in a water sign, so and it's the sign of home. So maybe there's I don't know, maybe you have like some cash in a empty book in your house somewhere that no one knows about or something. Or like um or secret love affair. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Okay, anyway, I'm not accusing you of anything. I think that's it. I just feel like I'm missing something. I don't see a lot of exact aspects because everything's just really scattered in your chart. Most of everything is under the horizon though. So you're yeah, so it's just like a combination of being very direct but also there's like you're a very direct, outgoing person. Very you don't mind being obvious and spontaneous in an outgoing way that's you making yourself very clear and you're a very honest person. But at the same time, there is more below the surface too. You can be introspective and there's yeah, and especially with your sexuality and with the people you might attract romantically, um, yeah, there's more than what's at the surface for sure. Um, there's hardly any exact aspects here. You have Sun trine Jupiter, so that's you'd be very lucky and optimistic. You'd be an optimist probably. Although I've noticed you might have had like an emo phase though. I noticed that sometimes with this sign. Um, but in general, you'd be a very optimistic person. You know, let's do it big and better and expand and stuff like that. Very um, I think you'd be smart too, like you'd want to entertain some kind of abstract ideas or philosophies. You could get into that a little bit with Sun trine Jupiter. You have Mars square Neptune. So that's a weird one. So that there could be some kind of if that gets triggered by the transits, there could be some kind of accident, like a violent accident. Usually Mars square Neptune has to do with like storms and earthquakes and stuff. So I don't know if you've experienced like some kind of natural disaster in your life, something like that, or it could be like a violent accident too, something unexpected. I mean, I'm sure you're born 1972, so I'm sure something like that's happened. But like Mars square Neptune could have. That's a weird one. I don't know how to read that, honestly, to be honest. Libra. Okay, I'm dragging this out. I think I said enough. So, yeah, so just very fiery, charismatic person, passionate person, outgoing, friendly, um, energetic, but also introspective. And yeah, you you might actually be kind of critical at times, or you might get in fights over like little things, whether it's your fault or not. Like that just might happen. You need freedom. You need to be able to do whatever you want to do, for sure. You are yourself, and that's something that like a lot of people have to go through life trying to figure out just how to be themselves. And like you've got, I think that's your best strength. Like you know who you are. So yeah, okay. I think I covered it, and let me know what was right and what was wrong. Because I'm always learning. I'm always working to improve. And yeah, it's a good chart. So I'll see you later. Yep.